South Africa, welcome to Afternoon Express. My name is Buhle. We're midway through the week and I hope you're hanging in there. First up, we chat to one of your favorite Muvhango actresses. In fact, everybody loves to hate her. Her name is Buhle Samuels and she plays the character of Matshidiso Mofokeng. She's also a dancer and a singer, so we'll be getting to know her in a short bit. We'll also be having a conversation about family and conflict, in particular conflict in the workplace, in the home and in relationships, and we've invited a few experts to help us unpack the issue. But in the kitchen is my favorite lamb chop.
No, I don't want coriander in my food.
Well, eat
no,
it.
I don't want coriander.
You're gonna eat it.
No.
You're gonna eat it?
No, you... Welcome to the kitchen, everybody, right here on Afternoon Express. Dealing with conflict resolution. Today we're going to resolve our conflict in the kitchen today. We're going to make something so delicious in the loft. Clem is our guest chef, and I promise we don't hate each other. We love each other.
I've actually put coriander.
Have you really?
No, coriander and parsley in.
I told you not to.
There,
It's so cool to have you guys on the show. What are we making? This all looks amazing. It looks very different today.
It is, because we're taking it, we've been focusing on Asian for quite a while. I mean, I love Asian and Mexican food. We're going to Egypt today.
Okay.
Yeah, we're making a Dukkah spiced lamb chops.
And Dukkah is such a cool thing to have on your tables. It's nice for dips, it's nice for anything you want to create with your dishes.
It's nutty, fragrant, amazing.
Oh man, you guys can make your own Dukkah at home and go and find the recipe and the shopping list on our website. It's at afternoonexpress.co.za. There, like I said, you can find the shopping list too to go and print out, take with you to next time you go do your groceries. And all these delicious ingredients you can put together at home and make an amazing meal for your family and your friends. It's time for us to get kicked off on the show today. Joining us on the couch is Muvhango actress Buhle Samuels.
She's renowned for her portrayal of Matshidiso Mofokeng on Muvhango, a young woman who's obsessed with money and power and sees men as a tool to be used to obtain the life she seeks. But outside of the show, she's also a singer, dancer and presenter and one of the hottest young talents in the country. Joining us in the loft is Buhle Samuels.
Well,
welcome
thank you
to the loft.
so much. It's so awesome.
Did you love that intro?
I really loved it.
Oh, you absolutely deserve it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you've always, well, not always wanted to be in the industry, but you started out quite young in beauty pageants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started off in beauty pageants, but it was kind of a mission, you know. My mom had to like push me into it, you know, because I think I'm kind of like, I can talk to people, like if there's a bunch of people I can talk and have like a good time, but when it comes to things that are precious to me, I'm a bit, you know, shy, and so my mom was like, no, you need to go out there, you know, kind of get your thing going. People are like, oh, she's so cute, put her in pageants, do stuff, so that was kind of like the beginning of the downfall into the industry.
The downfall. So would you say then that you were a reluctant celebrity?
Yes, I definitely was.
Right.
I ran away for my dear life till I was, I think after the Lion King auditions, I did that, and then I was like, you know what, maybe this is not for me.
Maybe this is not for me.
Like, maybe I need to just stay away, and just the thought of, like, people, you know, invading my privacy, because I like being chilled and human and kind of just having fun and not having people be like, oh, it's you.
You look so cute. Did you go to Dominican convent?
Yes, I did.
I went there.
Did you?
Yeah, get out of here.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, maybe you were in the same grade with my sister or something.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you know, they say what resists persists. So obviously the celebrity bug has followed you and fame is on the hunt for you.
Yeah.
But so much so that you wanted to actually be a nurse in the beginning, right? And your mom's a nurse.
All because of Mom, yeah.
Oh, wow. And your mom's also very encouraging and supportive in your career now. Tell us about your relationship with her.
My relationship with my mom is just, it's amazing, you know. I think if I've learned anything about being a woman or being human, I've learned that from her, you know, through her job, her caring acts, and just, you know, I mean, like so many people used to send her gifts when she was leaving from here and she started working in Saudi Arabia. The amount of gifts that my mom, you know, she received, it was amazing because people were just so attached to her. It wasn't just like a job for her.
Yeah.
And just like even her support of me, because at some point I was a bit lost, you know, because I was running away from the industry and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And she was so patient with me. So if there's anything about being human and kind of learning how to be a nurturing being, I've learned that from my mother.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Why did you run so hard from the industry? What was it about it that scared you, that made you so hesitant? Was it perhaps a fear of fame and the scrutiny that it brings?
The scrutiny.
And we're going to chat a bit about scrutiny and how it plays a role in your life. Was that one of your fears?
I think, yeah, no, most definitely. It was a huge fear for me because I think, you know, we all are just trying to figure out this life thing.
Yeah.
And everyone has an opinion of what someone else's life should be, but yet they don't know anything about their own. You know, but people they so carely and like so freely just give out that opinion and tell you, no, you shouldn't be doing that.
And so quickly.
No. You know, so it's just like, I just didn't want that. I just want to live my life. I want to be human. I just want to have fun. I just want to be normal. I struggle with it sometimes. Like I went for Christmas, like this past Christmas, I was having fun with my family, and it ended up being a spectacle more than it being a Christmas lunch.
Wow.
And I don't really like that. You know, I just want people to like, let's hang, let's have decent conversations.
Yeah, it's
you know?
just me.
It's
like,
just me.
Be
It's
normal.
Buhle. You know,
Wow.
so yeah, I struggle with that, but I understand also at the same time that you know, it's a love thing from their side, and they have a certain perspective, and I have to respect that and understand that and kind of be supportive of
Yeah, and
that
it's a bit
side.
difficult for them to put themselves in your shoes.
In my
for a
shoes,
second.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of been an experience for me, just kind of letting that go and understanding that this is the gift that God has given me, and I need to embrace it. And live my life and live my truth.
Yeah.
Whatever that is to anybody else, it's, you know, it's their thing.
There's been so much scrutiny around you and your body and your body parts. So there's been all this talk about your derriere, your tush. I mean, how does that even feel? Like, it got so absurd. People were asking questions about, is it real or not?
You say people are
still they've
asking
been.
me. Just this past few days,
This
I
is
had
crazy.
somebody...
I'm reading these headlines on our pictures and I'm like, what? And what goes on inside of you when this conversation is happening around you and it's about something that's on your body? Something so intimate.
I think it's just, it really shows me the power of media and how it can be so misleading to individuals where people believe that, you know, like a South African girl, I mean, if you walk outside of the street, 10 women, maybe 6 of them have figures. You know, they are busty, they are curvacious, they have
A friend of mine and I
thighs.
call it booty power.
They've got booty power, yeah.
BP, yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, if you go out of the country, as soon as you fly in, the first thing you see is bumps, boobs, you know, all of that stuff. So it's kind of like ridiculous, and sometimes it's very upsetting to me because...
Has it made you sad?
It makes me sad. Sometimes it makes me very angry because it's something that I've had all my life. Even in high school, I stopped wearing skirts because when I would wear skirts, it would just drive the boys crazy. I don't know. It's just like, it's crazy. It's just like it's a body part. Get over it, you know?
Yeah.
And if you think it's fake, please don't ask me if it's real, because they'll be like, oh, did you leave your bum pads at home?
No.
I'm like,
no. Has
I
anyone
don't
tried
know.
to prod it? Do people try to
No,
prod
what do you
it?
mean have people tried? Women are the worst. They are the worst. They are like, you know, poking and prodding it and saying, oh no, oh it's real, but why? Where is it? What do you do? I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're invading my privacy. Can you stop? And I have to be polite, yet I have to be, you know, it's just like, you don't really know what to do, but I'm just getting to a point where it's just like, can you just stop?
Can you just stop?
Can
Make
you
it
just
stop.
stop?
Make it
Yeah.
stop. Well, we're not making this interview stop anytime soon. We'll be back to chat more about your career
Hopefully
and what's
about
happening in
food.
the future.
Food.
Of course, we're actually cooking for you. After the break, we're making Egyptian-inspired lamb rib chops, and we're back on the couch with more from Buhle Samuels. Later, we'll be chatting about conflict in the workplace, and we asked the question on social media, what is the worst thing someone has ever said to you at work? How did you react? Share your thoughts with us. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
A warm welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, before we get into the recipe today, today's a very special day for us on Afternoon Express because 2 of our absolute legends have their birthdays today. One of them happens to be Jeannie D on her birthday today, and the second one is our very own Clem Pedro. And so, dude, you've been very subtle about your birthday today, no mentions about it. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
How's the day been?
It's been awesome. Got to spend it with you.
Oh, you see, we were shooting a whole bunch of stuff this morning, very exciting things, and this guy got to spend his birthday with us. How old are you today? Are you allowed to reveal that?
No, 29.
Oh, 29. Yeah. Oh, man. If you guys want to go and shed some love for Clem Pedro, there are a whole bunch of posts on all the social media sites at Afternoon Chat. We've posted a photo of him. There's a little boomerang thing on Instagram you guys can go check out. Afternoon Express, send him all the love that you guys can today. We're also going to be making lots of things that smell lovely in the loft today, and we're making something called Dukkah. Now, Dukkah is something that is comes from a whole bunch of areas around the world, but I know particularly Dukkahs in Egypt is where they kind of created it from. And it's something you can use as a dip with something like an olive oil, but today we're using it as a flavorant for meat.
That's right. And I like using it as a spice in a sense because the main ingredient in Dukkah, it's nuts, hazelnuts.
Okay.
And once you roast them, they actually have quite a lot of flavor.
Those flavors are nuts. Yeah.
But actually, the Dukkah's in the second part. We're making lamb chop ribs first.
Oh, yummy. Okay.
You gotta have something with the Dukkah. You can't just be chowing Dukkah, you know?
Yeah, and because it's your birthday, can I do something?
Yeah. Okay, do everything.
Okay, how about it? What can I do?
Well, let me show you first. Let me show you what you're working with. So we're working with rib chops today,
Yes, yummy.
which I think are like, if you're looking for a quick lamb dish, these are the guys to go to.
The flavors, the fats, everything in this
Everything.
is amazing.
And it only takes about 20 minutes to cook. So you've got
Exactly.
that amazing fat on the one side of the lamb, which gives that amazing flavor, crispiness. And the fat just brings so much of the moistness to the lamb.
To braai this is the best thing in the whole world. Just with olive oil, salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of lemon. It's amazing.
And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Well,
Okay.
a little bit. So we've got the chops in there, and bring the chops up to room temperature. You don't want to put them on a grill or on the braai when they're cold. Such a small piece of meat, it's going to just tense up so quickly. So let it rest, come to room temperature.
Okay.
So in there, we're going to go with some rosemary.
Which we have to.
Because lamb and rosemary, I mean, it goes together like...
Any meat and rosemary is a
like
great
Clem and
idea.
Dan.
Yeah.
Looking for brownie points.
That's so cheesy.
It's my birthday, you can't say that. Okay.
Better.
Okay, so lamb, rosemary, and then lemon.
Yes. Oh, yummy.
What you could do is, I'm microplaning it, but if you've got a normal vegetable peel at home, just take like big peels of the lemon and add it into the bowl.
Okay. So you're basically adding all the fragrances at the moment. So like the sort of rosemary is nice and fragrant and fresh. The lemon, fragrant, fresh.
Citrusy, brings out all the natural flavor of the rosemary and of the lamb.
Okay.
And garlic. Just throw the whole guy in there. It's just been smashed. And then olive oil. So we're keeping it simple. We're not adding radical flavors to it. We're still allowing the lamb to bring its own flavors through. Finally, because you got to have some chili.
Oh, yummy. So you're adding a bit of heat in there with all
That's
those light flavors.
And you're going to add some salt for me?
Ta-da! That I can do. Oh, wow. Oh, clearly I haven't been doing much in the kitchen for a long time. Dab with salt.
I was going to ask you to grill the chops, but after that performance with the salt, I'm just going to I'll just do it myself. It's okay. So let these marinate for half an hour. Okay. They'll tenderize. I'll let you do something, okay?
Okay, I'm
something,
waiting.
just now. So these are the guys that I marinated earlier.
Okay.
Okay, so they're looking good. On a hot grill, get it really, really hot. What you can start
Or a
doing
braai.
is... What's that?
Or a braai. You can create a braai with that. The
Exactly.
meat. Yeah.
I mean, we South Africans, we braai in winter.
Lekker.
Let's go.
In the rain.
So because of that fat cap that's on there, you want to place that down first and let that fat start rendering out.
Okay, cool.
It goes deliciously crispy and yummy. The fat renders out, and you actually cook the lamb in its own fat.
Oh, yummy. That's
Amazing.
so good.
So let's pretend that it's been rendering out. It's beautiful and golden. So we pop the guys down, and then we're going to let them go. So tips I want to know, have you been paying attention when you're talking about like cooking meat?
Yes.
Okay, meat 101. Are you ready?
Yes.
Once the meat goes down, we do not.
Once meat goes down, we do not turn it over until it bleeds out the top. Oh, no.
We don't turn it over.
We don't turn it over
we let it
ever.
do its thing,
Oh.
and but I'll give you half a mark.
Okay, thanks.
You can earn it back in part 2.
Yes, amazing. So if you guys want to start making your meat at home, you can find the recipe and the shopping list on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Part 2, we're going to be making our delicious Dukkah. A spice for this dish is also coming up later on in the show. You can find that recipe and the shopping list on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Let's continue our convo with Buhle Samuels.
We're back on the couch with your favorite Muvhango actress, Buhle Samuels, who plays the loved-to-be-hated character, Matshidiso Mofokeng. Matshidiso Mofokeng. So the Muvhango producer spotted you when you were auditioning for The Lion King. What do you think it was about your audition that made them think, hey, she'd be better suited for that role?
I really don't know. I think it was more of the conversations that were had behind. You know, I think they realized that sometimes someone has the X factor, the je ne sais quoi, as they call it, you know? And I think that's what spoke for, because I'm a bit unapologetic in my way. You know, I'm kind of I'm shy, but I'm unapologetic. I'm just like a confusing mess. And I think that's like attractive to a certain extent. And I think they thought maybe this could work well for the character in terms of just like her approach, maybe that I could come up with something different.
Right,
approaching the character, so...
And what did you bring to the character that you think nobody else has brought? I mean, it's a character, she's a villain.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to hate her, and she causes a lot of conflict. Tell us about her.
I think one thing that I definitely decided on, because as an actress, I think you have to decide on your decisions in terms of where you're taking the character.
Yeah.
I decided not to make her that serious, brow-lifting, typically intimidating villain, you know? I wanted her
Right.
to seem kind of
Harmless.
fun and harmless, but
Playful.
annoying, playful, but annoying, you know, where she's laughing, but she's being devious, you know? So kind
that's
of...
the most dangerous
That's the
type.
most, exactly. So I thought, let me bring a whimsical edge to this villainous character, you know? So she's been really fun. She is unapologetic. The amount of, you know, guts that Matshidiso has, I think it's very inspirational, just looking at that point, not the things that she actually does. But she's really fearless about the things that she, you know, she does and she wants. And she's a bit manipulating.
Of course.
Which is not good, but she sets her mind on something and she does it.
And she gets
So I
it.
think in that regard, when you take away all the negativity, just looking at that, I think more people need to do that. Set your mind on something and go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the negativity of playing a villain, I know a little bit about what it's like to play a villain and how the public can really believe that that's who you are. So what's been the public's reaction to your character, and do they sometimes confuse the two of you? And have you had to say, I'm really not like that, this is not who I am?
Yeah. A lot of people are taken aback by just my appearance at first because I'm very different to Matshidiso in the way that she looks. So most people are taken aback by that, so that really helps me a lot.
Yeah.
But some people have said she shouldn't come into the shop, I will slap her if I see her. You know, I hate her, tell her that I do not want to hear, I don't want to, you know, but I've never really met, everybody's kind of been a bit, kind of like wary, but loving at the same time. I've never really had anybody spew some foul things my way. Everybody's been kind of like, oh, okay, no, but you're very different and you're so young.
You're so tiny.
You're so
You're
tiny.
so little. Yeah.
You know, so, yeah.
So Muvhango is so popular that there's now audition scams where people are charging people like 300 Rand to come in for an audition. Have you heard of this?
I haven't heard of that. It's just right now that I'm hearing
How does
that.
it feel being on a show that is so loved? And I mean, I guess what it also reflects is how young people so desperately want to be on television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, I think young people need to understand that you need to do things in an honorable way in order to have an honorable result. There is no quick way. There is no... I think we're coming to an age where we are so content with cheating our way into things. And I think that at the end of the day, you cheat your way into something, you'll be cheated out, you know, of that thing.
Wow.
So I think that a lot of people need to understand that and kind of realize that you need to go into those auditions, let people see you, let your talent speak for itself.
Put in the hours.
Put in the hours, because at the end of the day, they might say no to you now, but they won't say no to you forever. And that's the thing that you need to understand. And by doing that, you'll forever have work because you worked your way in and not because you paid some 300 Rand. Because if you pay 300 Rand now, you're gonna have to pay 1,000 Rand, 10,000 Rand later, and then how are you, how are you gonna go?
A good name is better than gold. So one of the other things that you can do is you can sing. And we can look forward to an album from you soon.
Yes, an album eventually, but I'll be releasing a single or two within this year. I mean, it's kind of a bit difficult.
What's your sound like?
R&B queen. R&B, you know, so definitely something that's going to make you dance, you know. I think people are really going to get to discover who Buhle is, you know, because people know Matshidiso, the character, but I don't really think they get to know who Buhle is. And I'm really fun, and I like having, you know, I'm carefree, and I'm a bit of a sultry queen, you know.
Wow.
So definitely in the music,
that's going to come through.
Yeah, you'll definitely get to experience that. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that does sound exciting. The other thing is that we have cooked for you. You mentioned food earlier, so we're going to chat a bit about food around the table later, so don't go away. Cool. After the break, we're moving on to our topic of the day, conflict. We're joined by an expert to explore how we can better manage conflict in the workplace. Remember to answer our social media question for today, which is, what is the worst thing someone has ever said to you at work? How did you react? And tweet us at Afternoon afternoon chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page. Facebook page. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Conflict. We try to shy away from it, but for some reason we just can't seem to avoid it. Conflict is important in our lives as it forces us to learn and grow, and also the ways that we resolve it helps us learn. Whether it's at home, at the workplace, or with friends, we deal with conflict on a daily basis. It's part of us. And as we learned from earlier on from Buhle Samuels, it's what drives her career at Muvhango particularly. So we're joined by Warren Clue from LabourNet, who has some advice to us exactly on how to handle work conflict, particularly in the workplace, obviously. So welcome to our live, Warren.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's just first begin with conflict. What exactly does conflict mean within the workplace? What have you seen happen in a workplace?
I think conflict is really just an issue that rises between two people, well, two people or two groups of people. We are a diverse workforce, and we've got very strong values and beliefs and opinions. And when one of those are challenged, it can give rise to conflict in the workplace.
What are some of the conflicts that you've seen arise throughout the history of your career? What are the sort of big ones?
I think you get various forms of conflict, but definitely roles and responsibility conflict. Just an example of that is where the roles aren't really defined, and you might be doing certain work or duties, and somebody else believes you're encroaching on their space, trying to steal their job possibly. That can create some conflict. Interdependence conflict is where you'll be dependent on someone to give you information so you can submit your reports, and that person then obviously lets you down, and then you obviously that can give rise to conflict as well. And then I think the most common is just interpersonal conflict, so personalities.
Which is the most frustrating thing to hear about, because if I think about conflict at the workplace, a lot of the times it sounds like a playground, when you're sort of a playground and someone says something nasty to you and you don't like it, don't want to work with them. But we're sitting in an environment where the economic structures aren't great and jobs are hard to come by. So a lot of people, I think, go through a lot of abuse at work when it comes to that sort of space, and refuse to engage with it because they'd rather keep their job than cause any waters to stir. Does conflict always result in firing?
No. So, I mean, some conflict is good. Conflict can actually be healthy for an organisation, and it can help an organisation grow. I think when conflict is directed in a negative manner, then, of course, it can give rise to an unharmonious environment and so on. But it doesn't always have to lead to dismissal or to firing. So the idea is to resolve conflict, or the conflict management, conflict resolution.
Yeah. How do you do that?
So to resolve conflict, obviously it needs to be brought to the company's attention, so the party who feels aggrieved. And I think the best way to try and resolve it is informally. So to have a sit down with the person, and not to get external parties involved or third parties or the CCMA involved, and try and resolve it as quietly and as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Some companies don't have that sort of luxury of having HR departments. I mean, there are many small companies out there who don't even have that department at all. And a lot of the time, if you've got a small workforce, you never really want to go and tell a boss or somebody that there's a conflict arising, because it might lead to you feeling like you're going to be pushed out, or you might be new to the company and don't really know what's right and what's wrong. Yeah, really, I just want to get an understanding of what the first step is.
Well, I think the conflict, if you're going to do anything with the conflict, it's always going to come out to management's attention at some point. So if you're going to sit on it and the company is small, the conflict's not going to be resolved. It's going to be internalized, and eventually it's going to blow up in your face. At some point, you're going to have to take it to management. Even if you go to our external, the CCMA and so forth, the company's going to be informed of that. So the best is really to either sort it out as grown-ups between the two parties that are dealing with the conflict, or to try and get the next level of management involved.
Yeah, so if I'm a corporate, let's say, and I'm running my own company, and I can see conflicts happening within the company, is that obviously a clear, or not obviously, is that a clear sign that maybe the sort of structures within the company need to be worked on, or that my staff are unhappy? And especially because if conflict is happening, how do I resolve that as a boss without there being some kind of blow-up happening?
Well, I think if there's, conflict can be both ways. So conflict can be from employer to employee, and obviously that normally is disciplinary hearings and those sorts of things when the boss is unhappy. But on the other side of it, where employees are aggrieved, they can lay grievances. And that then brings it to the company's attention that there's a grievance. It can be a group of people or an individual. And they can then handle that grievance either through the HR department and so on.
Awesome. What I've really liked about this topic is we've asked a lot of questions on our social media accounts, and today the particular one was, what is the worst thing that someone has ever said to you at work, and how did you react? And I've been scrolling through the accounts and found a response from Makrila Jacobs, and they said, I was told that by my ex-colleague, who happens to be Zulu, that Xhosas don't do well in the banking industries. I didn't say anything, and I loved my job, and I was there for almost 5 years. So basically, it was a race kind of issue that had come up there, or a cultural difference that came up there. Would that be regarded as conflict, or would that be now a constitutional question?
I think it's got the propensity to cause conflict. So it's a, it's a cultural issue and it's a diversity issue, and we've got to understand that we're a diverse nation, and that's why it's important to have diversity training or understanding of diversity. This employee obviously felt aggrieved, whether they did anything about it or not. Their right is obviously to bring it to management's attention, because there's got the opportunity for racial divide can exist in the workplace.
Yeah. Sometimes it does get physical. Has that ever happened?
We've definitely had cases of physical abuse. One employee smacks another employee around and so on. So yeah, I mean, that's obviously a physical form of conflict.
And that can also turn into cases of abuse in the workplace, etc., and so it'll unfold. This has been fascinating. I really learned a lot from this conversation. So I think in many ways it is about taking that first step, report it, do deal with it personally before taking it to all the external sources. So thank you so much for joining us in the loft.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Now, after the break, South Africa, we're continuing our conversation on conflict by chatting to a couples therapist about how to manage conflict, particularly in a marriage or relationship. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. If you've just joined us, we're chatting all about conflict on the show. Before the break, we looked at how we can resolve conflict in the workplace. But work relationships are vastly different from a romantic relationship. So we're joined now by couple and family therapist Pippa Solomon to chat about how we can manage conflict in a relationship. Welcome to the loft.
Thank you.
Lovely
It's
to
good
have
be
you with
here.
us.
Thank you. Yes.
So is conflict healthy in a marriage? And if so, how much of it is healthy?
You know, it's kind of sad how people think that conflict is bad. They think if they've got conflict in their relationship, there's something wrong with them or with the relationship. But actually, conflict is normal. Every single couple has conflict. Every single close couple has conflict.
Every single close couple has conflict.
Yes, because we are different. We're so different. So, of course, there's going to be conflict, right?
Yeah, right.
So it becomes so important. What's become so important is how we deal with conflict.
Right. So my next question is, is there a right way to fight?
There's no right way to fight, because I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Because
Do tell.
when we feel threatened, or we get hurt, or our raw spot gets pressed, then there's an actual hijacking of the brain that happens, and we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. So when we're in that mode, fighting in that mode, which is what we tend to do, it doesn't help. There's nothing. We're hijacked.
Our brains have been hijacked.
Yes,
we can't think.
Exactly. So the focus needs to be on how do we repair from conflict. Once we hijack, can we go and calm ourselves down? Can we breathe? Go and figure out what's going on. Why am I so upset here? What's the raw spot that's been pressed? And then when we sort of figure that out, we come to our partner and we repair. Wow. That's the big focus. In emotionally focused couple therapy, which is the motto of therapy I use, the big focus is on how do we repair.
Right.
And if you think of your own conflict, like, what does it take to repair? Wow. So many times I've been in that place of like, there's no ways I'm talking to that guy. There's no ways.
Okay, so you've chosen to describe it, and I find that metaphor very interesting, of hijacking, your brain getting hijacked by your emotions, essentially, right? But how do I stop the hijacking from happening altogether? How do I think through my conflict?
You can't really stop the hijacking. You've got to recognize I'm hijacked. I'm in fight, flight, or freeze mode. And then you can go, I need to calm myself, I need to regulate, I need to calm myself down. And that's your work. Because in relationship, we've got kind of a whole lot of relationships going on. It's relationship with ourselves. So there's a relationship with you, relationship with me, and there's the relationship between. So there's a whole, it's not just a simple thing, our relationship. There's also, I think, a higher relationship.
Yes.
So it's a lot happening.
Yes.
I think there's a divine purpose to conflict.
Wow, that's incredible. So, okay, what if two people in a relationship have different ways of fighting, and it's influenced, say, by their biological environment, by their upbringing, their socialization? Yes. How do you find, how do you just work in that tension?
Well,
Do you try and
it's
make
really
your
helpful.
fighting style the same, or
No, it's really helpful because I know that people will always have a different way of fighting. Because what tends to happen is you get partners who are more withdrawing partners. So the way they deal with conflict is that they want to minimize it and they want to move away from it and they want to try and calm it all down. And then you get partners who don't want to calm, they want to go in for the fight, right?
Right.
Pay attention, like they protest.
Somebody
Pay
once
attention, what are you
described
doing, right?
Yeah,
So,
somebody once described it as a rhinoceros and a hedgehog.
well, in that situation, it's
Different
kind of
person.
an attack, but maybe different
Right,
shapes.
yeah.
But there's still, maybe the hedgehog's a bit more withdrawn and prickly.
Playing possum.
Maybe.
So how can you tell if there's too much conflict in a relationship and now it's becoming abuse?
Yes, that's a difficult one, because I think that all conflict, when we're in the hijack mode, can feel abusive. We can get really mean with each other, and like I think physical hurt is really, that is abuse. That's easy to see and define as abuse. But like mean things, like even you're a loser, something like that.
Right.
That can feel abusive. So
Yeah.
when it gets to that place of trying to determine, am I in an abusive relationship or not, that's kind of a different question.
Yeah.
And then there's places like FAMSA. Do you know FAMSA?
Yes.
Incredible NGO that works with people who get stuck on these kinds of things and helps with domestic violence and abuse. I think they are amazing. I highly recommend them for people who get stuck.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much. That's so insightful, and I'm sure everybody learned a lot from what you shared today. But we're back to the kitchen, and Danilo's in conflict with those chops.
You're such a chop. You are such a chop. Literally, they're a chop. They're a lamb rib chop, and we're making them, and we're putting them on the fire, and we're resolving conflict in the kitchen here today.
I find that conflicting.
How?
Like, this is so hectic, so much
Resolve it, cook it, make it delicious, eat it, it becomes part of you, and you become one again, you see? You become one, and it, like, solves the conflict.
Whoa, you're on both ends like today. It's crazy.
A genius. I'm a genius
Okay.
is what I am. Okay, so Clem, what we've done with our lamb chopsies, we've kind of put those on the grill and they've grilled up nicely. They're looking delicious. We've got the chili in there. We've got the rosemary, the garlic, and the lemon rind that's in there. Now all that's left to do is make that all-important dukkah, because
That's right.
we've never done it on the show before. It's an absolute must if you're moving forward in the culinary spaces, in your kitchen at home. It is an incredible thing to have around the house.
You're selling it so well.
It is amazing. I
Thank
promise you, I fell in love with dukkah and I will never go back. It's a thing I eat every time for starters.
It's amazing. I love it. So what I've done is I've just toasted this up again just to warm it through and just release the natural oils in there. And I've got hazelnuts in there.
Yes.
The skins have been taken off. I've got sesame seeds, coriander seed, cumin seed, some red chili.
Smells delicious, yeah.
You can smell it already.
Yes.
It's pretty intense. But it's amazing how much flavor you actually get out of the hazelnuts and sesame seeds. It becomes a spice mix on its own.
So basically, to be honest, a dukkah is really just the base of hazelnuts. So that's the base of all dukkah.
That's the base.
Okay, so
and
you can
from
create
there,
your own
you
little
kind of-
combinations as you go.
You make it your own. You really do.
But
So-
I highly recommend sesame seeds because while in Turkey, I remember dukkah also was served there. You said this is an Egyptian dish. To Morocco, etc. All that sesame seems to be one of the favorite flavors because it's like really rich. It's a, I think what it's a smoky flavor.
It is.
Which you
A
have
smoky,
to
nutty flavor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this on for a little bit, let that go, and I don't want to make it a powder.
Yeah.
I want to keep some texture in there, and I want to know what I'm eating, so I want to see a bit of it, right?
No, I think now your nuts are still a bit too big in there. I think you got to like go a bit more, yeah.
There we go. So observant, eh?
Yeah, because the dukkah, to be honest, if you're going to put a bit of olive oil and you're going to have olive oil with like a nice ciabatta bread or something that you're going to have with it, you've got to have it at least stick to the bread. You can't have a big chunky little
That's
bit
right.
of hazelnut and then...
So I'm going to pour that in there. So as you can see, I've kept it a bit chunky, as you should.
Oh, and now that you've grinded that up, all of that, like the way that
smells-
you roasted it, oh, it's
I really wish we
delicious.
could like send this to our viewers out there so they can get
No,
a massive
it is
whiff
a
of
trick. On this previous show I used to work on, we used to tell viewers this, and I used to do it. I promise you to do it. We used to like waft, and if you rub the top corner of your screen, it always says SABC3, rub the top corner, and you sniff it there, you can smell what we're making today. Try it at home, it's fantastic.
I would love to see the selfies of people actually doing
Yeah.
it. That'd be amazing.
Oh, it smells so good. If you guys do not try this at home, you're really, really missing out. Dukkah is such a cool new fusion of a whole bunch of
It is.
flavors.
It's
and Moroccan
crazy
food,
good.
Egyptian.
So what I'm doing is
cutting
I'm
up-
chopping up some parsley.
Why are you
okay?
ruining the dish?
Okay. You know what? I'm going to change it for you. I'm going to
yes.
change it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dukkah that we've got there.
Yummy.
And while it's still hot, I mean, you can let this cool off and keep it in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. It'll actually keep for about 3 weeks.
Awesome.
Which is pretty great.
Very cool.
I love using it hot though. That's like so much more flavor. So we're sprinkling over our chops.
Oh, yummy. As if that fat that you've already grilled off hasn't got enough of a crunch. Yum.
And then what happens is the dukkah actually, the juices that have been resting in the bottom of the pan with all that lamb gets absorbed by all that dukkah and it becomes something totally crazy. Can I sprinkle a little bit of green on the side?
You are welcome to. I think it's good to sprinkle green on the side, even on top, because the freshness of that will just sort of combat the really deep, rich flavors of that sesame seed and the hazelnuts and things. So I'll give that up to you. Cool. All that's left is to basically decorate this dish, add some lemon on top, and it'll taste so delicious. And they've got a yogurt here, which is a nice sort of side for this, correct?
It is. So we're sticking with that Middle Eastern vibe. So we're using yogurt. So I'm just going to grab the yogurt. Will you grab the sumac for me?
Which one's sumac? This?
Yes, and you know sumac already. We worked with that before.
Yeah, we've spoken about it. It smells delicious. And if you guys want to make obviously all of these different ingredients, mix the two together, make your own dips, your sides, enjoy the process of Moroccan and Egyptian food, then go to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. That's where you can download the recipe and the shopping list for this incredible, incredible dish we're making on the show today. So make sure you don't miss this, make it for your friends and family, take a photo and send it to us when you are done. Now, after the break, we're chatting all about conflict within the family, and I can tell you now, there's going to be some conflict in the Afternoon Express family over these delicious lamb chops. And also, if you guys are fighting over the remote, we'll show you how to resolve that too. We'll be right back. A warm welcome back to Afternoon Express. So today we're chatting all about conflict, and earlier in the show we covered conflict in the workplace as well as in relationships or a marriage. There is another common form of conflict that can be very tricky and sensitive to manage, and we're joined by psychometrist Dawn Ellingson to learn more about conflict within the family. So Dawn, welcome back to our loft.
Thank you so much.
They always say that you can't choose your friends. I mean, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. How do we go about resolving conflict in the family?
You know what? It's been around for so long. If you look at the Bible, look at Cain and Abel.
Yes.
Shakespeare wrote about it. Romeo and Juliet, two feuding families. Soapies. It's all about conflict. And I think it's something that is deeply ingrained within humans. Yeah. You know, you get it all the time. One person wants one thing, someone else wants the other. And in families, it just builds.
Totally, but the thing that I've never understood, and over the show today we've mentioned it a couple of times, that conflict is healthy. I really don't understand how conflict within a family is healthy, especially if it's something that's very, very sensitive or does cause a feud that lasts for years.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It depends what it's about. And I think it depends. When you start getting unhealthy conflict, it's usually about jealousy, about expectations, about values. Maybe a new person's come into the family, and this is the way we do things, and you are going to behave this way. So there are all those things. Money, all those create bad conflict.
But I think there's a big difference between having a disagreement or disagreeing on something and arguing and learning and growing through that process, and then conflict, which is another element. And you've mentioned something like a new person entering a family, and a lot of divorced couples where a father or a mother will get remarried and they almost take on that new motherly role, and children have quite a long time with conflict in that space. What is the role of the child and the parent in those sort of environments? You
know, it's got to be redefined. Relationships change. And it's not only in that space, it's also newlyweds. Yeah. You know, you are marrying my son, but he is my son, and don't you forget it. And then it becomes a power struggle. So it's renegotiating. You know, we've heard about the fact that the brain can get hijacked and terrible things can be said. But it's about renegotiating relationships, and I think that's really important.
Why is that so important? Why is it not necessary, especially in families, and particularly in South Africa? I've seen many families who have driven themselves apart with a massive wedge, and that wedge that's driven between the family is actually quite serious, and a lot of people want to reject that side of their family and almost walk away from it. Why is it important for you to resolve that conflict?
You know, it usually starts between two people, and then what happens is, because it's family and the loyalties and the dynamics of family, other people get sucked in. Because if you have a standpoint and you can make the other people in your family sort of come to your side, it's easier. Then you feel somehow justified. Yeah. And what happens is it builds. It's almost like a fire. It starts building and building, and as conflict builds, people polarize. In other words, they become more set at their sort of side of the argument. And the other thing that happens is they tend to get tunnel vision, so they cannot see the good or the other side. It's
A lot of
I'm
society has
right.
forgotten to look at two sides to a story, two sides to a conversation.
Always, and somewhere between the two lies the truth.
I also don't want to make viewers panic about this conversation because I think that there is healthy
absolutely not.
conflict. What does
Yes.
healthy family conflict look like, and what does unhealthy family conflict look like?
Healthy family conflict would be when things are resolved. So maybe mom has a problem with her son's new wife, that she feels that too much time is spent with the wife and not with the family anymore. And it's about renegotiating that relationship. You know, they talk about a win-win, but very often it's about compromise.
Yes.
Values change, roles change, and it's about understanding that and also trying to understand the other person's point of view.
Exactly. Dawn, fantastic. Thank you so much. I hope we can
Pleasure.
find more information as we go and keep this conversation happening on the social media sites. I heard that there are a whole bunch of chops on the table, but amazing people around the table.
Had absolutely fantastic conversations in the loft today. But even more amazing is this dish cooked by Clem on his birthday. Happy birthday again, Clem. Thank you. Please come and sit down. The chops
So how are my
await.
chops doing? Are they amazing?
The chops await.
No conflict here.
No conflict. Well, we are going to have conflict if you don't dish up first. I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you don't allow me to be the gentleman in the house,
You don't
then...
have to say it twice. I shall...
Wow.
But you know what? Culturally, we serve the men first, so...
I won't fight about that. That's perfectly fine. This is nice. I like this cultural conversation. Oh, thank you. Guys, what a fascinating conversation we've had today. Conflict seems to be partly healthy and part of it seems to be not so healthy at different times, and just making sure that everybody takes a chance to step back from the situation, look at it, what's the best for all the parties put together. And I really appreciate all of your time today on the show. Thank you for joining us. And Buhle, continue being mean.
I only came for the food, you know. I didn't come for
We
you,
know.
so please.
We know. We were told in the tech ride, it says, if there is no food at the end of the show, I do not come.
I do.
South Africa, thank you so much for joining us in the loft today. Big happy birthday to Jeannie as well as to Clem, our absolute legends right here on Afternoon Express. Have a great afternoon, have a great evening. Good night and happy eating. Bye. Bye. I'm going to steal another.
Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, violinist and Afro-pop band Freshly Ground's Kyla Rose Smith joins us in the loft. We also take a look at some unique South African design entrepreneurs, including a business that makes paper with seeds that grow when planted.
Another feel-good production.
Hi YouTubers, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to us. Join the Afternoon Express family by subscribing to our channel right here. And we'll keep you up to date with all our recipes and of course our fabulous episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment and share this video. We do love it when you express yourself.